Hey everyone, so we're done with the bathroom, and we're on to our next project, which is a garden shed. And the garden shed we're going to build in the series of videos coming up, take us a little bit, but is a 12.5 wide by 20 foot deep garden shed, which makes it 250 square feet. In this county, you're allowed to build up to 250 square feet with no permit, which is a lot less hassle. If we obviously don't have to get the inspections, we can, but and that's a nice sized garden shed, obviously. So 12.5 by 20. Today we're going to lay out the area, to find the four corners so we know the exactly where the shed's going, and then we can start leveling the ground, which will be the next video. But I'm going to take you through a series of steps on how to do that, so kind of watch and follow along. This is pretty simple and easy, but you're going to pull out some of your old high school math. So let's go. So if you look in this video, you see there's four stakes, two on the outside, two in the center. The two in the center have dotted lines going to them. Look at the two on the outside, because that's how we get the original back line for the shed. And the way this shed is working, it's going to sit right up on the side property line and run, so what we did was, that fence in the background sits 1 foot in from the property line. Then we measured in on to the left and to the right. We measured in 15 feet. And we went wider than we thought the shed would be to make sure that we had plenty of room. But once we got those two stakes in 15 feet back, by the way, 15 foot back in this county is the setback line, which means you can't put a building closer to the property line than 15 feet. So with that 15 feet plus the 1 foot the fence is in, that's 16 feet, so we're nice and safe. That creates the back line. So once we got those two stakes in, we pulled a string between them and showed us where the back line was going. So I swung around to the other side of that line, and basically what we did then from those two stakes is we pulled a tape measure 20 feet forward, and we put a front stake in 20 feet from the one on the right, 20 feet from the one on the left. Now you see the same thing as we just talked about. You've got a series of four stakes there. We're talking about the outside stakes right now. Then we pulled a line between them. So now we know we've got the back line of the shed, which is parallel to the fence, and we've got the front line of the shed, which is parallel to the back of the shed, 20 feet forward. The next thing we're going to do is square up the sides. So the first thing we do is find the back two corners of the shed. It's somewhat arbitrary at this point in time. We moved in what we thought was a good place on the left there. You can see the tape measure is going to set the first peg. We then measured from that peg over 12.5 feet, as you can see, and we put the second peg in. So that gives us the two corners of the back of the shed. And then to find the two corners in the front of the shed, we want to make sure we're square, right? So keep in mind, if you remember your high school math through trigonometry, basically if we know the back width and we know the side width, so it's 12.5 and then 20, we can square each one of those, add those together, take the square root, and that will tell us what the diagonal piece of the triangle is going to be, the hypotenuse. And the math told us it should be 23 feet 7 inches. So we came over 23 feet 7 inches and we found this front corner. Okay. Then we can, once we got that stake in, we came over 12.5 feet and we found the other corner. We've now found all four corners and we've got a nice square rectangle. And we can step back a little bit and make sure we like the location of where we've put it, and it looks good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get a technique out where we get a water level out, and we're going to start figuring out within our rectangle how to make the ground nice and level, all four corners and everywhere in between, so that when we start building our shed's going to be obviously level and plumb. So that's it for today. That's how to lay out the rectangle. Like I say, have a good tape measure. As you can see over here, a couple other tools that you're going to need will be a 3-pound hammer. You're going to need some marking paint. Pick a marking paint that's going to show up well, and then obviously some twine. But that's it for today.